let's ask this question right now for the clip. Is Jon Jones scared to fight you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing with Jon is conning the public, man.
The drama surrounding the big names in the fight game continues to intensify. In a recent conversation on Logan Paul's podcast, Tom Aspinall made a bold claim, suggesting that Jon Jones is avoiding a fight with him, possibly fearing the potential consequences.
I mean, he's definitely top three. He's definitely top three.
Absolutely. I'm not disputing that he's an amazing fighter. I think the fact that he didn't want to fight Ngannou for 3 years, and now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year.
The interim UFC heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall, has openly voiced his frustration, accusing Jon Jones of intentionally stalling the fight. Aspinall, who has been dominating the heavyweight division with his speed and knockout power, views this as hesitation from Jones, who may be cautious about the upcoming challenge. Aspinall didn't hold back in his comments about Jon Jones, acknowledging Jones's savvy in managing his public image, but asserting that he believes Jones is reluctant to face him.
Didn't want to fight Ngannou for 3 years, and now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year. And the way he manipulates the media and the public is super smart. I'm not taking anything away from him. But do I think he's scared to take the tough fights at this stage in his career? Absolutely.
Can you understand that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can.
Jon Jones has long been known for his ability to promote his fights, and his recent request for 500 days of training before his next bout is being viewed as another clever strategy. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan, Gordon Ryan, Brendan Schaub, and Eddie Bravo discussed how Jones has skillfully managed public perception throughout his career. While many consider his request for such an extended preparation time excessive, they agree it's actually a strategic move to keep his name in the media and generate excitement for his return.
Man, Brendan got stomped.
Yeah, it gets crispy off this. But what I was going to say is I wish we were seeing Jon Jones Aspinall in London.
Yeah, that's what they should be seeing. But I think John's going to hold out as long as he can to make the most money. And then
Which you can't be mad at, but also, Tom Aspinall, I think soon he'll be the interim champ for the longest ever, over 500 days. That's not good.
No, that's kind of crazy. 500 days is kind of crazy. 500 days is wild. It's kind of crazy.
Brendan Schaub pointed out that Jon Jones has consistently stayed ahead of the curve in self-promotion, using social media, interviews, and calculated call-outs to control the narrative around his fights. He emphasized that Jones has a deeper understanding of the entertainment side of the sport than most others. Eddie Bravo added that every action Jones takes, whether it's pushing back a fight, calling out potential opponents, or sharing cryptic messages, has a specific purpose. According to Bravo, Jones is playing chess while others are just playing checkers when it comes to building hype.
And then Jon said he wants 6 months to train.
Which is, that's just negotiation tactics. Like, dude, he's been on your radar for 3 years. And you took 2 years to get ready for heavyweight. What are we doing?
Yeah, but I mean, Jon
also get your money.
So meticulous in his preparation. Like, you've worked with Jon. You trained with him when he was getting ready for Stipe.
Yeah, we did the first camp. I was with him for like a couple weeks. And then and then Stipe got hurt. And then the second camp,
oh, here we go. Someone got hurt.
He dropped him. I didn't see with what, but he definitely dropped him.
Gordon Ryan, one of the top grapplers globally, shared his insights on how a potential matchup between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall could unfold, particularly focusing on their grappling exchanges and ground game. He acknowledged that Aspinall would likely prefer to keep the fight standing, but also noted his quick takedown ability. However, Ryan pointed out that while both fighters could bring the fight to the ground, Aspinall might face difficulty taking full advantage once on the mat, due to Jones's exceptional grappling skills.
And Tom also has pretty good, fast takedowns, so they could both take one another down.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Tom is going to be able to, really do anything besides try to get up on Jon.
Yeah.
He's trying to get that mounted guillotine.
He's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was a kid, It's rare you have a big guy with good hips.
Dogfight. Oh.
Yeah, he's so fast.
In their conversation, they highlighted Tom Aspinall's remarkable speed and agility for a heavyweight. They pointed out that no other fighter in the division moves with the same fluidity, making him a distinct challenge for anyone. However, they also raised a concern about a potential vulnerability, his defensive striking. While Aspinall has showcased outstanding offensive skills, they questioned whether he leaves his chin exposed, which could be a weakness that an experienced fighter like Jon Jones could exploit.
Tom,
Aspinall, like as a heavyweight, there's no one like him.
The only knock on we really haven't seen
Got
it
a
would just be his
decently-
defense. You
Yeah.
know, his head is exposed,
one
his chin.
The discussion then moved to Aspen's lone professional loss, which came by heel hook before he entered the UFC. They debated whether this was a major concern, with some pointing out that it was due to a heel hook and that Aspen has made significant improvements since then. There was also some uncertainty about whether he was still undefeated in his professional MMA career, but they ultimately clarified that the loss took place early on in his journey.
One MMA fight I did see him lose, he got heel hooked, and it was a pretty heel hook that he tapped to. So
Aspinall?
yeah,
When was that? I thought
it
he
was
was
a long time
undefeated.
ago. That was a long time ago.
I thought he was
He'd been
undefeated
before
in
he
the
was in
UFC.
the UFC, yeah.
Oh, you got heel hook before
Yeah.
the UFC?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's undefeated, though.
It was a long time ago. He's obviously gotten much better, but it was a pretty heel hook.
No kidding. Was it an amateur fight or was it a pro fight?
It's a pro fight, I believe.
Later in the conversation, they speculated about the scenario where Jon Jones decides not to fight Aspen. They discussed how the current state of the heavyweight division seems relatively weak, leaving Aspen with a limited number of legitimate challengers. Shah, in particular, criticized the division, stating that it's never been in worse shape. He mentioned Cyril Gane as one of the few notable contenders, but the overall lack of depth at the top of the division could pose a challenge for Aspen if Jones chooses not to take the fight.
Here's something to think about. Think if, for whatever reason, John decides he doesn't want to fight Aspinall, what the fuck do you do with Aspinall?
Right. There's no one.
The
compelling.
heavyweight division's never been worse.
It's never been worse.
It's
Yeah.
awful. Like, there's Cyril gone.
Triangle right here.
Oh, look at this.
Pull that head down.
One of the major hurdles in making this fight happen is the financial aspect. UFC President Dana White has confirmed that the fight is on the horizon, but negotiations are still ongoing. Jon Jones, known for securing large paydays, is reportedly asking for a significant amount for this fight, and the UFC is working to finalize the deal. There are also rumors that Jones is seeking a big payday for taking on Aspen, considering it a high-risk matchup. On the other side, Aspen is focused on the fight itself, but also wants to ensure he is compensated well for what could be the most significant bout of his career. Reports suggest that Jones is seeking a purse between $40 million to $50 million for the fight, a figure that has sparked debate within the MMA community. UFC welterweight Colby Covington has criticized this demand, implying that Jones may be pricing himself out of the fight. In contrast, Aspen has expressed understanding of Jones's stance, acknowledging that the champion deserves the money he earns. Dana White remains optimistic about organizing the fight, aiming to deliver what he believes will be the biggest fight in UFC history.
You know, John's ducking. He's trying to ask for an unreasonable price, man. You can't be asking for $40-50 million. You don't draw money to the company like that. So, you know, I think that he's going to end up retiring before he fights Aspinall.
Colby Covington has accused Jon Jones of demanding an unprecedented $40 to $50 million to face Tom Aspinall, a figure much higher than what even UFC megastars like Conor McGregor have earned consistently. Covington suggests that Jones is pricing himself out of the fight to avoid the challenge, implying that the champion may be hesitant to risk his legacy against the fast-rising interim title holder. These allegations have sparked controversy in the heavyweight title picture, increasing pressure on both the UFC and Jones to address the situation.
I know he has to get that win, but do you think Tom Aspinall's the guy to beat Jon Jones?
For sure. John's
Yeah.
scared of him. He's ducking him, man. He don't want to fight. So that's why he's like, oh, I'll vacate the title. I'll fight the number 10 guy. Fucking scared. Why do people think Jon Jones is a GOAT? He literally destroyed his legacy by ducking Tom Aspinall. The guy's a coward, and he's a woman beater. He beat his Jon Jones.
Dana White has made it clear that he wants the matchup between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, with the clash between the reigning champion and the dominant interim title holder being one of the most anticipated heavyweight bouts in recent years. However, if Colby Covington's accusations hold weight, negotiations may fall apart before they even begin. If Jones truly refuses to fight, the UFC will face a tough decision. Either strip him of the belt or leave Aspinall waiting indefinitely. Covington didn't just stop at questioning Jones's financial demands. He also attacked his character, suggesting that Jones may be reluctant to defend his title and might even be looking for a way out of the sport altogether. While Jones has not responded to these accusations yet, the pressure is growing on him to make his next move. One thing is certain, this situation is far from over. With Aspinall ready for the fight, Dana White pushing for the matchup, and Covington fueling the fire, all eyes are on Jones. His next decision could significantly impact the future of the heavyweight division. Jones has requested 6 months to prepare, which could push the fight to September. This delay has left many fans and fighters questioning his true intentions. Some believe Jones is stalling to avoid facing Aspinall, while others argue he's simply taking his time to ensure he's fully prepared. Michael Bisping, a former UFC champion, has openly criticized Jones, claiming that he is misleading the public with excuses and unnecessary delays.
The greatest fighter of all time, talking about Johnny Bones Jones, is more than likely going to fight Tom Aspinall and more than likely gonna be paid around $30 million. That is what Joe Rogan was talking about on his podcast. And as we know, Jon Jones that kind of shied away from fighting Tom Aspinall leading up to the Stipe fight, which was an absolutely stroke of genius in terms of marketing because it drove the demand through the roof, sky high, made it the fight that everybody wants to see. Well, guess what? The man is going to get paid properly, more than likely. That's the route.
If this fight takes place, it could go down as one of the most significant heavyweight matchups in UFC history. Jon Jones, widely regarded as one of the greatest fighters of all time, remains undefeated in title fights and has long dominated the light heavyweight division. Upon moving up to heavyweight, he captured the UFC Heavyweight Championship by submitting Cyril Gane in his first fight at the higher weight, showcasing that his skills are adaptable even in the heavier division. However, Jones has yet to face a heavyweight as fast and explosive as Tom Aspinall. Michael Bisping suggested that if this fight doesn't materialize and Jon Jones continues to avoid facing Aspinall, it could have a lasting impact on his legacy.
I really think that Jon Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall.
Do I think, we haven't had the fight announced, have we? So I'm not saying he would duck him because he's one of the greatest, or if not the greatest fighter that we've ever seen. I just want to see the fight announced. And I think that if Jon Jones doesn't fight Tom Aspinall, then I think that will definitely affect his legacy.
Aspinall, on the other hand, has quickly ascended to the top of the division with his remarkable speed, power, and well-rounded skill set. Unlike most heavyweights, he moves with the agility of a lighter fighter, which could present significant challenges for Jones. His boxing is sharp, his wrestling solid, and he possesses knockout power that could put anyone to sleep, especially if he can keep the fight standing. If he manages to do so, he stands a very real chance of knocking Jones out. Aspinall also weighed in on the ongoing debate surrounding Jon Jones's reported financial demands for their potential bout. While some critics, including Colby Covington, have accused Jones of pricing himself out of the fight, Aspinall took a more respectful approach. He acknowledged Jones's impressive career and accomplishments, stating that he deserves a significant payday for everything he's achieved. Aspinall had no problem with Jones negotiating for a higher purse and expressed his support for him getting the money he deserves. When comparing their skills, Jones holds the advantage in experience, fight IQ, and wrestling. He has faced and defeated some of the best fighters in the world, such as Daniel Cormier, Alexander Gustafsson, and Glover Teixeira. Jones is known for controlling the pace of a fight and has one of the most intelligent minds in the sport. His striking is unorthodox, and he uses his reach to keep opponents at bay. Additionally, his wrestling is elite, and if he takes Aspinall down, he could control him on the ground. Rampage Jackson, who has fought Jones before, is not yet ready to engage in the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall debate. While he acknowledges Aspinall's talent, he firmly believes that, in his eyes, Jones remains the greatest of all time. Having faced Jones in the octagon, Jackson understands the skill and dominance that have established Jones as an undisputed champion. He emphasized that as the reigning champion, Jones's mindset is unshakable, and he simply cannot envision anyone beating him.
Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. No, Jon Jones is the GOAT in my book. He's one of the best. And I recently saw Aspinall fight for the first time recently, and he's a great fighter, and he's a great champion. But I think it'll be tough for me to ever say that anybody would beat Jon Jones until that.
However, Aspinall is younger, faster, and arguably more explosive. Being a natural heavyweight, he doesn't have to bulk up or adjust to the weight class like Jones did. His speed and knockout power could prove crucial in defeating Jones. especially if he can land clean shots early on in the fight. Aspinall has also demonstrated solid grappling skills, meaning that even if Jones attempts to wrestle, it won't be easy for him to dominate the British fighter. Aspinall broke down his potential fight with Jon Jones, explaining why he believes he holds the edge. He rejected the notion that Jones would have an easy time against him, arguing that he is unlike any other heavyweight in the division. Aspinall pointed to his finishing ability, emphasizing that statistically, he is one of the most dangerous fighters in the UFC based on his finish rate and speed. Confident in his power, Aspinall made it clear that if he lands a clean shot, Jones will go down.
I think like ring rust is probably for people who've not had as many like title defenses as he's had. So I don't think he'll have that at all. I just think that I'm way different to any other heavyweight out there at the minute, and I think I'm nothing like anybody that he's ever faced before, so I think that's to my advantage. And if you look at statistics, I'm statistically the most dangerous person in the UFC. If you look at finish rate and finish time and all that kind of stuff, that is me. So I think, he's a human being. If I punch him, he will fall over. So that works to my advantage for sure.
I think ring rust is probably something for fighters who haven't had as many title defenses as Jon has, Aspinall said. I don't think he'll have that issue at all, but I just think that I'm very different from any other heavyweight out there right now. I believe I'm unlike anyone he's ever faced before, and that's definitely to my advantage. If you look at statistics, I'm statistically the most dangerous fighter in the UFC, in terms of finish rate and finish time. That's me. So, he's just a human being, and if I land a clean shot, he'll go down, and that definitely works in my favor. One of the biggest questions heading into this fight is how Jones will handle Aspinall's speed and power. In his fight with Cyril Gane, Jones dominated easily by taking him down and submitting him in the first round. However, Gane is known for poor wrestling, while Aspinall is a much more well-rounded fighter. If Jones can't secure an early takedown, he may find himself in serious trouble. On the other hand, Aspinall will have to be cautious of Jones's ability to adapt during a fight. Jones is a master at adjusting his strategy, so even if Aspinall starts strong, he'll need to stay sharp to avoid falling into Jones's traps. One mistake could cost him, as Jones has a history of exploiting opponents' weaknesses. Aline Sterling also expressed excitement about the potential Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight. Acknowledging Aspinall's clear physical advantages, Sterling made it clear that betting against Jon Jones is never an easy task. He highlighted Jones's fight IQ and ability to take control of a fight as key factors that could decide the outcome. If Jones gains control, Sterling believes it could be a long night for Aspinall.
It's a very intriguing fight. If I had to put money on it, it'd be super hard for me to bet against a guy like Jones, just because I know the mindset that he comes in with. Not saying Aspinall couldn't get it done because of all those physical gifts that he has, but dog, betting against a guy like that, if he gets you on the ground, that's just a bad...
Overall, this fight has all the makings of a classic. It's a clash between the seasoned champion and the hungry, up-and-coming challenger. If Jon Jones wins, he solidifies his legacy as one of the greatest of all time. If Tom Aspinall comes out on top, he takes over as the new king of the heavyweight division and proves he is the future of the sport. As the debate intensifies and the pressure mounts, the question remains, will Jon Jones step up to face Tom Aspinall, or is he looking for a way out? With Aspinall confident in his power, fighters like Aljamain Sterling analyzing the matchup, and Rampage Jackson still standing by Jones as the GOAT, the stage is set for one of the biggest heavyweight showdowns in UFC history. What do you think? Does Aspinall have what it takes to dethrone Jones, or will Jones prove once again why he's the undisputed champion? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fight breakdowns and the latest UFC news.